Hello, my name is Francis Yun. I'm a professor of social work at the Division of Social Work at California State University, Sacramento in California, United States of America. And today I would like to share with you on a topic called logic model, and particularly how it relates to program planning and program evaluation. Now, for today, we will cover several main topics. First, we go over some of the basic of program planning and program evaluation. And then we will go talk more about logic model and particularly how that relates to different kind of results that come out from the logic model. And then from there, we will tie in the logic model to a particular document called Program Planning and Evaluation Worksheet. And with that, we may be able to help us to implement, to apply the logic model in our program planning and program evaluation. Imagine that what would happen if you don't have to write reports for your projects or activities that you do. We will definitely have a lot more time to do the activities that we do. But then we do have also some consequences come with that. But why do we want to evaluate? Why do we want to do evaluation work? Doing evaluation is, for many of our hardworking service providers, is oftentimes that I have to do more work after I work so hard for my program. Can you just let me do my program? It certainly will, but if you don't do evaluation, there are a couple there are reasons why we want to do program evaluation. Number one, we want to report to the funding source and see what we have done what we promised we'll do. And it's accountability issues. Second, by doing program evaluation, we know that we're good at what we're doing so that we can use it as a way for us to help get additional support to continue the program or to improve the program. So the third reason is for continuous improvement of the program. Unless you know that you know how you've been doing, then you cannot really improve. And with that, we also use it as a management tool to make decision that something want to continue, something need to be discontinue, and something need to be adjusted. Think about that. If you're driving on the road, you don't just sit in there and hold on to the steering wheel and don't make any adjustment, right? First of all, you know where you're going, and then you make adjustment continuously based on your assessment and evaluation of the road condition. Then you make the correct improvement and adjustment. So end up you get to where you need to go. So, and by the time you get out of the car and say, boy, it was a fun trip. So you check the effectiveness of your program design. Was it a correct design? And did I take the right road to get here? Or should I take some different one? But no matter how you look at program evaluation, at the end, program evaluation is about telling your story. Program evaluation is not so much about numbers, it's not so much about statistics or any other thing, but to tell people's story. When you go on a trip, when you go to a different town, visit different people, when you come back, you have different exciting experience. You want to tell people, wow, it was a fun trip. Oh no, it was not that fun. Or whatever it is, you want to tell people how you were doing. And program evaluation pretty much is allowing us to do that. So we do it every day. So you just put it into more organized structural format. One thing about program planning and program evaluation is one key word I would like to emphasize is beginning with the end in mind. Beginning with the end in mind, you know where you're going so that you know what you need to do to get there. Right? I hope that we don't do it often. We walk out of the house and say, where am I going? Well, you oftentimes say, I'm going to work, I'm going to school, I'm going to different places. Then you know where you want to end up. So you know what the end, you need to have the end in mind from the very beginning. So with that in mind, then you ask yourself different questions. What do I want to change? How, what should I do? What could I do to facilitate that change? I have done something to promote that change, but what result would you expect? And what happened? How well I do? Or ask the another very important question. So what? If I do all this, so what? So using logic model to think through this process of designing, implementing, and evaluating your program. And that is what we try to touch on today, is applying the logic model to help us to think through this process. Before we get more into the logic model, I want you to explain how logic model fit into evaluation and planning. On the screen, there are 6 basic steps of program evaluation. The first step is to identify and develop your program objective. Now, program evaluation is very goal-oriented activity. There's something we want to achieve and we want to get there. So you do your program is also very goal-oriented. You want to achieve certain things. So you identify and develop your objectives. And once you develop your objective, then you use a logic model to develop and further develop this objective and fill in the contents for how to get to achieve those objectives. And so logic model help us to plan out the activities and the interventions that we need to achieve our objective, and also how we can tell whether we are achieving our objectives. And that particular section, section number 2, is the focus of today's presentation, today's workshop. And then there are other elements of basic program evaluations, which include data collection and the tools that you use, that is instrument development, and the actual data collection itself, and analyzing data, and then reporting the result. And those are the other step of the program evaluation. But today we focus on step number 2, which is the logic model. So how about program planning? I give you a formula. Yes, it is a scary formula. It's not so much. It's P2 equal W5 times H2 times E. Now, it is not a high-tech mathematical formula. As you can tell, it's very simple. We deal with it every day. P2 basically means program planning. The 2 letter P over there. And W5 are the 5 questions: why, who and whom, what, when, and where. Now, why is the reason why you do certain things. We just don't do things just because. It's not, well, we do it often, but in program evaluation, we just because. We do things for a reason. And the reason is the why. And who and whom is the service provider and service recipients. We know that we have a program. We know who, the target population we want to affect. But you need to have the right, you need to have the staff, the service providers. So these are the who and whom. How many people you want to serve? How many people do you have to provide those services? You may want to serve 3,000 people, but you only have 1 staff. Can you do that? Have you seen programs that only serve 10 people, but they have staff of 12? Well, then it's kind of extreme case. What is about equipment? What kind of equipment? What kind of resources that you take? If you are doing a transportation service for seniors, then you need to think about the vehicles, the van or the buses that you use. If you're doing a summer camp, do you have the facility, which is the where, but then you have the equipment for to go for camping, and so you need to have the right equipment. And when is the certainly is the time that where those activities take place, but they also mean timeline. How long do you plan to have this program? Is it one of those programs you start and you never want to have it ends? And or one of those programs that, well, someday we will do it. No, you need to have a timeline. You have a particular idea when you want to do certain thing. Right? So where is the location? It's more than just location. Where is also implying accessibility. Are you doing a program in the places where you can reach the people, or people can access your service easily? And sometimes we have programs the where is, oh, of course it's my agency, my office. You may be located in a location that is far from the bus stop, of public transportation, or the target population is not so convenient for them to come to you. And sometimes the where maybe bring the service to where the people are, and instead of they come to you and you go to them. So that is also the where. So think about those 5 W's, and you'll have all the most important ingredients for putting together a program. And the 2 H, number 1 is the how. How is the activities? What kind of things do you want to do? You want to help young people to learn about healthy diet. How do you do that? So that is the how. And the W, then another H is how much. It's your budget. Do you have the money? And if you don't have the money, where do you find the funding? Is your budget that you will bring in $100,000, will you spend $90,000 on the staff and only $10,000 for activities? Well, certainly not. So you need to have that plan, which is your budget. And finally, the E is about evaluation. How do you do? Are you doing all right with all this? So the program planning and formula by itself is all the major area that we need to cover in order to put together a detailed program plan. Now, program plan and program evaluation actually is 2 sides of the same coin. You need to have both. You cannot have, and oftentimes we do program evaluation, remind us, help us to do a good program plan. By having a good program plan, make the program evaluation easier. And they are 2 sides of the same coin. And so that brought us to the focus of logic model. And that logic model is basically, it's a tool. It's a tool that is a conceptual framework, help us for our program. Ask the question of why we are doing what we are doing, and what are the expected results, and your conceptual framework. And so logic model is the focus, and we will talk more about each of the components of the logic model.